So, we have been talking about fasting in our initial calls together. So I'm kind of curious. I have a strong opinion about this, Rob, but I want to know your thoughts on fasting as a necessity, or maybe in our previous conversations, a tool in a man's toolbox to combat the modern world we live in today, because it feels like everything is so indulgent now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people that have never really heard about fasting are going to be a bit surprised. Why are you talking about fasting? It's not something that has quite found its way in like the self-improvement community. But I definitely think that I wouldn't use the word necessity because that depends on your priorities, obviously. But it's absolutely a tool that can greatly enhance your life in many different ways. I think the first one is just health, long-term wise. This is something that young guys sometimes struggle to really understand, especially if you're like under 25, because your
And into the weights, I would say.
your sense of responsibility usually tends to be fully grown when you're like 25 or something. But I think fasting can really like counter a lot of the unhealthy modern effects that we have. It can also, have an
Yeah.
influence on other things like productivity and stuff. But I think that health, for me, it has always been the number one reason. That was the initial reason I got into fasting. I think the best way to explain it is this: you have to understand that um, our body needs a balance between eating and non-eating, the anabolic state and the catabolic state, right? A lot of people know that word anabolic because of building muscle, and we think that anabolic is good because it builds muscle, right? And catabolic is bad because that destroys muscle. But the truth is, catabolic processes are very important as well. For example, one catabolic process that we have is that our body starts cleaning up precancerous cells, cells that have DNA damage. Our body can recognize that and then be like, hey, that's a precancerous cell, let's clean that up. But this is a catabolic process, which primarily, if not solely, happens when you are not eating, when you haven't eaten anything in a while. In our modern lifestyle, we eat all the time. We eat. I mean, there are no animals in nature that eat every 2 hours. Well, maybe cows, animals that graze. But most animals are not designed to eat every 2 hours. You don't exactly see a chimp or a lion running over the savannah with some snacks in their hand and then being like, oh, it's been 2 hours, I need to eat some snacks. It doesn't work that way in nature. And so we are eating way more often than our body was designed to do. Our balance between the anabolic processes and the catabolic processes has been disturbed. We spend way too much time in the anabolic state, way too little time in the catabolic state. And as a result of this, we see that anabolic diseases, diabetes is nothing more than an anabolic disease, cancer, heart disease, being overweight, all of these things are common.
I'm
And you
actually,
might, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm so pleased that you kind of brought that up as the first point, because, no, of course, you can't talk about fasting without things like weight loss. But you mentioned there, I just want to pick up a point about identifying precancerous cells or damaged cells, and that process of autophagy that
Yep.
fasting, allows the body the time to actually do that deep clean. That's the way I look at it. I call it physiological hygiene.
Yeah,
So
that's a nice one.
this concept, or this idea that if you are eating and grazing multiple, or stimulating your insulin multiple times a day, get up in the morning, eat breakfast, bang, insulin goes up. You have the coffee and a donut at 11 o'clock, bang, lunch, bang, afternoon
Yeah.
snack, bang, dinner, bang, dessert, bang. You're always in this anabolic zone. And it actually takes a lot of energy to digest things, for your body to go through peristalsis and contract, your intra muscles to digest your food. But when you go through that fasting window, your body recognizes, hold on, we don't have a lot of time we're not digesting anything here. let's have a little whip round, a little tidy round, and sort out the things that we've been putting off because we've been having to digest all this nutrition that's coming in. So again, you mentioned the big ones there, but and it's awareness that people don't know, which is the most terrifying. Yes, during fasting, your body will identify precancerous cells, damaged cells, plaque, pus, undigested food, all in your gut, and it will get rid of them.
Yeah.
You're not giving yourself enough time to actually get these toxins, bacteria, viruses out the door.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's only another 2 hours until the next meal is going in your gullet.
Yeah, Alzheimer's as well is another great example.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's is nothing but protein deposits in your brain, so that your cells can't really communicate with each other as well anymore, because the protein's sort of clouding your brain, and it's disrupting the electric signals between the brain cells. Your body has processes to clean up these proteins. But they happen in the catabolic state. We never spend any time in the catabolic state, so everyone gets Alzheimer's.